he goes on such a journey. You know, he really trying to find out who he is, and for me, the challenge of not only, you know, all the physical side of it and the action and all that, but it was also the fact that he's a really interesting and kind of flawed character, and that really intrigued me as well. Something that I really wanted to try and portray well was his journey from kind of not knowing who he is to ultimately finding out himself and finding where he is and where he should belong. So for me, it was a kind of accumulation of those things. It was a good story arc, and basically it was Point Break and Johnny Utah, and I mean I couldn't say no to that. Working with Edgar Ramirez has been an absolute thrill. I've seen his work before, Carlos and Libertador, which we saw just before we started filming, which was absolutely amazing. For him, I think he brings a real centered and earthed characteristic to Bodhi. He's very controlled, and he's a very stable man. He knows what he's got to do in his life and what he's got to do in his work, and that really comes across in Bodhi. It's this idea of really having a centered way and a centered place and moving on from that. It's been a thrill to work with him. Audiences can expect, I think, a movie with not only thrills and spills and action and all that, but a film with some heart as well, a film with a bit of a message. You know, there's an idea that, you know, hopefully this is a bit of a Trojan horse of a film. You know, people will go in expecting one thing and come out hopefully having a different idea on a few things. And for us as actors and I know Erickson as the director, we want this film to have a heart and have, you know, a bit of a message in terms of the idea of the world and your place in it, and also where you have to go with your life. So I think people will get more than they expected out of this film. It's a great ride, and it's wild and insane and thrills and all that, but there is a real heart to this film. For me, it was insane. You know, we've got cameos from people like Steve Aoki, and then you've got Jeb Corliss, the world's best wingsuiter. You've got Chris Sharma, the world's best rock climber. You've got Xavier Delarue, the world's best backcountry snowboarder. There's also iPod. He won the gold medal at the halfpipe this year, and there's a scene where kind of there's iPod and Eric Costin, and these guys have known Utah from back when he was a snowboarder, and so for me, the scene is me kind of high-fiving and saying, "How are you boys?" to all these guys that, you know, that I've kind of looked up to, and they're the best in their sports. So for me, it was an absolute thrill to meet all these people. It's really inspiring, and it's inspiring to see what kind of people they are, because it's funny, they're all the most humble people you've ever met in your life, and they're all very, very nice and calm and thankful for what they do, because what they do they love. He's got this rough exterior, but he's a real lovely guy, and he's funny as a circus, and he brings that kind of rogue element to Pappas that Pappas has. You know, there's a reason he's out in the sticks, and and I think Ray brings that idea of someone who's lived hard and partied even harder. And yeah, I've learned a lot from Ray as well in terms of how to make a movie and how to stay fresh through the entire thing. And Ray loves making movies more than anyone I've ever met, and he's made a lot of them, and that's really inspiring as well, to know that at the end of the day it's a lot of fun, and you should enjoy the experience.